Hello everyone, welcome to the Buzz the Prey Manga. Today we continue the latest Global Freeze chapter, rewritten and edited by me in English for a smooth reading experience. All visuals and story flow are personally edited to give you the best manga style storytelling. Support the original creator by checking the official manga. So let's dive right into the today's chapter.
Chapter 2567, The New King 1. Zhang Yi didn't give them much time to hesitate and continued speaking directly. The fourth and final point. He revealed the boundary line of a complete closed loop, which resembled a piece of dark blue snake skeleton pieced together segment by segment, slowly closing on the projection. In the future, we will build a long wall. Keep all alien races outside this long wall. This is neither an ancient city wall nor a circle of earthen embankment to keep out the cold. This is a defensive belt composed of detection towers, a network of fire, and patrol routes for highly mobile and human troops. It has two things to do. First, physical isolation, to keep out the daily infiltration of high-level alien races and prevent them from freely entering our territory. Second, monitoring and early warning. Any high-energy reaction that approaches will immediately turn red, allowing us to determine in the first instance whether it is an individual or a large army. Zhang Yi said seriously. Once the relocation is complete and the internal situation is stable, we will form a new unit, the Demon Hunter Unit. This is a highly mobile decapitation strike force outside of the regular army, a special unit that specializes in border patrols and strangling intruders with malicious intent. It's like a pack of fanged mastiffs, sweeping away any threat along our long walls. When you bite your enemy, remember one thing. Never approach the territory of Huashu Kingdom and never covet any of Huashu Kingdom's property. Otherwise, you'll die if you get close. Everyone understood Zhang Yi's intention, to create a modern version of the Great Wall. However, building this long wall will inevitably be very difficult. At least in the short term, it's simply impossible. However, if the space teleportation network that Zhang Yi mentioned is completed, it will allow the superhumans in the 6 regions to quickly support each other. At that time, it is indeed possible to gather superhuman forces to fight along the entire border. It is almost certain that once they become neighbors with those ancient civilizations, friction will be inevitable. In the meeting room, Zhu Zheng was the first to nod, smiling as if he had finally found a pillar of support. I like this. What I fear most in Jiangnan is those persistent small groups of infiltrators. They're not a large army, but they come to bother us every day, making our cities restless. These were his true feelings, because during the years since Gao Changgong's defection, he hadn't been able to sleep well for a single night. When the 6 major regions of Huashu Kingdom are gathered together, with the Jiangnan region located in the center and Zhang Yi's Tianhai city keeping an eye on the sea, there will be no direct contact with any alien races on the land level. He can finally breathe a sigh of relief. Xuanwu said in a deep voice, "We people of the East Sea are best at guarding the defense line. Leave the coastal defense to us." Qin Xuanba raised his chin. "Our National Protection Army is what we do anyway, so we can draw on our elite troops to cooperate." After discussing Zhang Yi's suggestions, the group made some additions and subtractions, but overall there were no major objections. However, the most important thing right now is to relocate key industrial equipment, materials, and people as quickly as possible. After the meetings of the senior leaders of each region ended, they immediately ordered their subordinates to carry out the order. Fortunately, after the apocalypse, migration has become the norm. Although people still have a strong attachment to their homeland, survival is clearly the top priority. Therefore, the large-scale migration did not encounter any internal resistance and will proceed normally thereafter. As for where to put the relocated people, there are plenty of abandoned cities in the inland areas with complete infrastructure. With today's industrial capabilities, dispatching robot soldiers for repairs would allow the abandoned city to be restarted very quickly, which is no problem at all. The meeting had just ended, and Zhang Yi stood in the makeshift command room, staring at the geographical projection map in his hand, his face expressionless. At this moment, everyone knows that the future of Huashu Kingdom is no longer a single plan, but a collaborative effort and reconstruction of the 6 major regions. At the conference center in the Shengjing region, Meng Yuanjun, Guan Longyue, and Shang Dawen sat around an antique wooden table. Under the bright lights, their faces all looked somewhat solemn. Meng Yuanjun spoke in a low voice, breaking the silence. Zhang Yi's arrangement is clearly intended to create a new structure in Huaxu Kingdom. The 6 major regions will form a protective ring around Tianhai City, which will then become an entity similar to the imperial capital. He glanced meaningfully at the two of them. He has now become the emperor of Huaxu Kingdom. Zhang Yi is becoming increasingly disrespectful to others during meetings. No, it's not so much that they're disrespectful, but rather that they simply don't care about other people's opinions. The higher-ups in the 6 regions didn't dare say anything to his face, but how could they not have any objections in their hearts? Shang Dawen shook his head slightly, a hint of helplessness showing between his brows. Circumstances are beyond our control. We can only do as Zhang Yi says, since we are now dependent on him. Lord Meng Yuan sighed. Wasn't the core of the Huaxu Kingdom once our Shengjing region? His words carried a touch of emotion, as if he were recalling the past. Guan Longyue sighed softly and added in a low voice. Indeed, the situation we once dominated has now become one where he is the sole ruler, but this is our current situation. We must admit that the strength of chaos and Tianhai City has developed to an unimaginable level, and we do indeed depend on him. Her gaze lingered between Meng Yuanjun and Shang Dawen, tinged with some worry. Meng Yuanjun frowned, as if he was thinking about something. So, how can we compensate for the shortcomings of the Shengjing region? Can we try to build closer ties with the Dragon Clan, seek their help, and strive to cultivate more epsilon-level inhumans? He was somewhat anxious. After all, the power of the dragon race had always been strong, and this might be the opportunity for their Shengjing region to rise. However, Guan Longyue's answer slightly dashed his hopes. The Dragon Clan has always been a distant existence for us. In their minds, Zhang Yi is now the representative of the Huaxu Kingdom. Compared to us, they value his worth more. Her tone was calm, yet carried a hint of helplessness. She understood that the dragons would not change their stance because of their requests. The Huaxu Kingdom and the Dragon Clan have a cooperative relationship. They value the small amount of incense offerings, but their primary motivation is profit. Zhang Yi, as a spokesperson, is far superior to Ho Tu and the others. Shang Dawen couldn't help but chuckle softly, seemingly not overly surprised. Yes, the dragon's attitude has long been obvious. What we can rely on now is chaos. Meng Yuanjun remained silent for a moment, feeling somewhat frustrated, but unable to refute. He understood that, faced with Zhang Yi's domineering presence, the fate of the Shengjing region was now in his hands. They only dared to complain like this in private, but when they actually met Zhang Yi, they still had to greet him with a smile. Because deep down they know, no matter how unwilling they are to admit it, that it is they who cannot live without Zhang Yi, not the other way around. Zhang Yi's attitude was always this: I won't force you. Anyone who disagrees with me can leave, but you will also lose the protection of Tianhai City. Chapter 2568, The New King 2. After the meeting, Zhang Yi began to discuss with Yang Xinxin, Uncle Yu, and others. Everyone gathered in the villa's living room, where warm lights shone on everyone's faces and the indoor temperature and humidity were just right. The meeting with them is over. After the 6 major districts are shrouded in a narrow circle, they will protect Tianhai City. Even if a crisis occurs in the future, they will become our buffer zone. Now, it's time to talk about how we should conduct ourselves in the future. Zhang Yi shrugged. He never hid the content of his meetings from those around him. He also needed to gather ideas and listen to everyone's opinions. Sometimes they just chat idly. After all, life is always boring. Tell us your thoughts. Uncle Yu sat to the side, his expression still calm and composed, giving people a sense of unwavering resolve. Zhang Yi, your arrangement of the 6 major regions is wise. The 6 major regions can effectively isolate external pressure as a buffer zone. His words were brief, but every word carried weight. Fatty Sue muttered something, but there was a hint of anxiety in his eyes. But Lord, if war were to break out one day, wouldn't we be sitting on a volcano? That would be really unpleasant. As he spoke, he wiped the sweat from his forehead, clearly a little nervous. We're surrounded by alien races. Should we run away? I think the Olyuan Empire's headquarters is pretty good. Li Yongyong smiled gently and patted Su Pengzi's back. Don't worry, Chunlei, the boss's judgment has always been accurate. As a core city, Tianhai City's defenses across its 6 districts are strong enough. And you have to trust the boss's abilities. He won't let Tianhai City fall into crisis. Her tone was gentle, yet unwavering in its firmness. Her eyes revealed her trust in Zhang Yi. No matter how the outside world changed, she always believed that he could solve everything. Lu Karen blinked and said excitedly, like a sunny girl, "This is a big deal. After the integration of the 6 regions, we will definitely be able to use technology to enhance our national strength and strive to be at the forefront of the world in all fields." Her eyes gleamed with intelligence, clearly indicating that she had already begun planning how to leverage technological breakthroughs. Deng Shintong then elegantly picked up his teacup, smiled, and spoke softly. Indeed, every decision Zhang Yi made was based on long-term planning. Even short-term difficulties will not affect the final victory. His eyes held an aristocratic composure and elegance, as if he were seeing a grand future. Zhou Kuder sat next to Zhang Yi, looking at him with tender and affectionate eyes, a gaze filled with trust and pride for her man. Zhang Yi smiled slightly, his gaze sweeping over everyone, and said softly, "As you all can see clearly, we will face an even more complex situation ahead. Our goal is to ensure that Huaxiu Kingdom stands firm among all races, no matter how difficult the road ahead may be." His words were like a powerful force, giving everyone confidence. However, the overall strength of the Huaxiu Kingdom at present is only equivalent to that of an ordinary ancient civilization. But it is surrounded by powerful enemies. Zhang Yi frowned deeply, tapping his fingers lightly on the coffee table, the pressure surging in his heart unable to dissipate for a moment. Looking at the world across 6 generations, the performance of the Huaxiu Kingdom has been extremely impressive. Other nations were either completely wiped out or chose to coexist with other races. For example, Barada and Goranvaya both cooperated with other races, which, to put it bluntly, made it difficult for them to maintain their own sovereignty. The Huaxiu Kingdom is far stronger than them. But Zhang Yi has always been an insecure person, and he doesn't like this unstable environment. In particular, the Black Dragon and the White Dragon Prince warned him that because he had shown Ling's human form and that the Dragon Clan had a sworn enemy, a new war would break out in the Huaxiu Kingdom sooner or later. We must improve our strength in the shortest possible time. At the very least, we must maximize our defensive capabilities. We're not talking about attacking others, but when surrounded by powerful enemies, we need to have the ability to protect ourselves, right? Zhang Yi crossed his hands, rested his chin on them, and sighed softly. Tianhai City is now the core of Huaxiu Kingdom, with 6 major districts forming a defensive line around it, but as time goes by, he feels increasingly uneasy. The external situation is complex and volatile, especially since the powerful forces of those ancient civilizations have firmly controlled Earth's energy and mineral resources. Hearing Zhang Yi's sigh, everyone frowned, but no good suggestions came up for the time being. If it were the Fong Wolf clan or the exterminated Zhu Rong clan who heard Zhang Yi's words, they would most likely be so angry that they would jump up and curse. Zhang Yi, aren't you satisfied yet? Do you even realize how strong you already are? You wiped out the Zhurong clan in a single day, and 2 night-level powerhouses from the Fong Wolf clan severely injured you. Now, following the conference of all races, many third-rate ancient civilizations are extremely wary of the Huaxiu Kingdom. And now you've turned around and think we're a threat? Zhang Yi's mentality is very strange. He seems to regard other ancient civilizations as dogs. He felt that even if I killed the dog after being bitten by it, it would still be a huge loss for me. This person is an extreme perfectionist, especially when it comes to security. However, It's difficult for us to achieve a significant increase in strength in the short term right now. Bailey Chongqing scratched his head honestly and simple-mindedly. Unless we can destroy one or two more powerful ancient civilizations and plunder all their resources. But that's clearly not suitable for the current situation. After all, we just finished negotiations with all the races, and it wouldn't be good to start another conflict. Zhang Yi nodded. Indeed, we have covered a long period of time in 5 years, which is similar to the long history of many ancient civilizations. It is unlikely that there will be an explosive improvement in the number of superhumans in the short term. Putting that aside, are there any other ways to improve our overall strength? At this point, Zhang Yi's eyes suddenly flashed with a brilliant light, as if his run and dew meridians had been opened. Zhang Yi suddenly realized that what he really needed to rapidly improve the strength of his civilization was not simply power, but technology and resources. Only in that way can we break free from the control of these ancient civilizations and regain control of our future. Thinking of this, Zhang Yi unhesitatingly retrieved Ling's human form from the alternate dimension and asked her, Ling, did the Ihan tribe leave behind any other legacies, such as advanced technology or the like? Ling stood quietly to the side, her silvery white holy radiance making her look like an unapproachable goddess. She opened her eyes and noticed the expectation in Zhang Yi's eyes. But her voice was like a cold wind, calm yet powerful. Before the ephemeral race decided to ascend to the ether, they had already destroyed everything, leaving nothing behind. She paused, her gaze becoming profound. Ascension to the ether means they abandoned everything, even their technology. Here ends today's chapter. I hope you liked it. Kindly do also subscribe to my gaming channel. I have to Fina a way to survive. Thanks.
Alright, that's it for today's chapter. Tell me in the comments which part you enjoyed the most. If you love manga style stories, don't forget to like the video and subscribe the Buzz Play Manga. See you in the next chapter with more surprises. Thank you.